Hello, everyone, and welcome to a podcast now called Uncles in Law. We finally did it. Good to be here. I'm Matt. Then
I'm
Steve
Steve.
says he's Steve. There you go.
I'm Michael.
Yes!
We
Nailed
did
it.
All right.
We're getting
Thank you
so
for coming
good
to
at
this
this.
episode.
So, yeah, guys, email us now. unclesinlawpod@gmail.com. No hyphens in that. That's all squeezed together as one excellent-looking word. I didn't want to go underscores or periods. I thought it would mess up the branding. So it's unclesinlawpod@gmail.com. Email us. We'll hit you guys up. I'll read everything, obviously.
Everything?
And yeah, for now. I mean, I can't imagine more than 3 or 4 is going to come in.
I mean, when the email's from Karen and she's like dissecting this episode on a line by line basis, are we really going to read it out loud?
I mean, I'll pick and choose what portions of the emails I'm reading, obviously, but it's there. We're gonna communicate.
She and the girls did that to me once when I was on one of those live C-SPAN call-in shows. They sent in something over like, I don't remember if it was email or Twitter, and then the host read it on the show.
The live show call-in thing. C-SPAN obviously famously gets a lot of good prank calls over there. There's a lot of good compilations of a lot of Baba Booey's, Howard Stern's penis, etc. A lot of classics on the C-SPAN call-in show. When you were on it, Steve, do they still do the same format where you literally call the Republican, Independent, or Democratic hotline?
Yeah. on the independent line, John from Kentucky.
Wow.
I'd like to know the next time you're on there.
I'll tell you after.
Yeah, please. Yeah, thanks.
So let me tell you guys this my week. Here's what happened. I'll let you know, and you can tell me what you think.
Any car accidents or holes in the roof this week?
No, but I did end up having to go to Disneyland by myself. Okay, so that's we'll frame the story with that.
Have to or got to?
Have to. Ready? Here we go. Here's what happened. Dory sends me an email. Excuse me. I forgot I'm on video. It's not just an audio podcast. So I'm like, I had popcorn earlier, and that was annoying to my teeth. But anyway, that's beside the point. Dory forwarded me an email
I brushed my hair
from...
for you, Matt.
Look, I'm trying to coordinate Red Sox hats with colors. Okay, this is all. There's something happening here. I have so many Red Sox hat. I was like, I can coordinate every outfit I have with a different.
For those of you who are actually listening to this, Matt is wearing a pink tinged Red Sox hat with a pink topped gray shirt. Oh yeah,
this is the ice cream sherbet. Yeah, this is the ice cream sherbet.
Is that an homage to the famous pink hat Red Sox era of the mid-aughts?
It was the New Era did a sherbet collection for some reason. Where they put everybody's logo in ice cream sherbet colors. So like you can't really tell right now, but that's like there's like an orange sherbet situation happening around the strawberry sherbet.
Mm-hmm.
The sherbs, Anyway, Dory forwards me an email from Disney. So last year, my pass was expiring before their pass, so we renewed my pass like 3 weeks before theirs were going to expire. And then theirs expired, and then we came to the realization that functionally, since the two of us are writers in a creative field and live in Los Angeles in 2025/6, we don't have money to be spending on Disneyland annual passes. So we did not go. We spent the entire year obviously not going to Disneyland. Dory then forwards me this email. She's like, hey, can you take care of this? I think we owe Disney like $1,000. And I was like, what? For what? She's like, for the pass you renewed. And I was like, there's no way that's accurate. She's like, well, look at it. And I look at it. It says we owed them $130. So I was like, so I get on the phone with them, and I say to the lady, oh, here's the that card expired. Here's the card that you could use for that now. And she's like, great, okay, well, that's your last payment. And I was like, oh. That's I haven't been yet. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, we got it, and then I never used it. She's like, oh, when did you buy it? And I was like, I don't know, you tell me. She's like, February 4th. And I was like, of 2025. Okay. So this was February 10th. She took care of all that, and then I called another Disney cast member number to deal with this whole scenario. And I call and I'm like, hey, here's what's going on. I got a pass. We never used it. Is there any, can I get a refund? That she almost laughed me off the phone with.
Yeah.
I was like, is there anything I can do so I'm not just out this money? I think that pass is $1,700 or something like that, because it's there's only 2 weeks of blackouts and they're all over Christmas and New Year's, which I wouldn't want to be at the park anyway. So she's like, well, you can go and tell them at the ticket booth that you are using it for the first time. Don't tell them it's expired. Tell them you have one that you haven't used yet. And what you'll be able to do is pay the difference if the price went up on the pass. Pay the difference, and you have to go into the park that day, and it will start from that. Day. So I was like, okay. She's like, but do it as soon as you can, because the closer it is to that expiration date, the easier it's going to be. So
the more likely they will forgive you your
yes.
your Michigan.
So it expired on the 4th, and this was the 10th that I was on the phone with them. And I looked at my calendar. I had no podcast recordings on Wednesday. So I was like, okay, Henry, I'm driving you to school, and then I'm going to Disneyland by myself. And Dory that day was recording in the afternoon, so I had to pick Henry up also. So I drove to Anaheim, went through the rigmarole. At that time of day, 8:30 in the morning, it's it's an hour from Henry's school, so about an hour 5 minutes, give or take. So then I drive there myself. I go to the ticket parking thing, and I have them scan my pass, and I see it come up red on the computer, like a big red with just the outline of a person, because I'd never taken the photo. She's like,
you were the egg avatar.
Yes, exactly. She's like, when did you get this pass? I'm like, February 4th of 2025. She's like, oh. I was like, this is the first time I've used it. She's like, yeah. Okay, well. And she's like, I'll give you a pass for today. And I go and I park. Then I have to go through the security line. And then I have the awkwardness of being this grown, giant adult man who's at Disneyland by themselves. So I'm waiting in the tram line with a family of 5 who's like, oh, you can go ahead. Then I go and I sit and I'm the only one in the tram row. Finally, some nice Japanese tourists join me.
They don't know better.
Yeah, we go up to the thing, because you got to take the tram all the way up to the Esplanade. And then I go and I look, and the line to get into the park is backed up more than I've ever seen it. And it was every single one of the ticket booth, not the ticket booth, but the entry scans was backed up for 75 to 150 people. It was crazy. And I go to where they tell me to go. And
on a random Tuesday?
On a random Tuesday. I come to find out, listening to people around me and the cast members talking, it's a tier 0 day, which is the cheapest day to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there. I get up to the booth, and they're like, okay, all you gotta do is pay the difference. And I was like, okay, what's the difference? She's like, it's $150. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So now I've spent $280 to go myself to fucking Disneyland. So I go, she's like, okay, and do you have a reservation for today? And I was like, yeah, I do. She's like, okay, we'll go, scan in, and it will start from today. And I was like, great. So I go get in the line. I'm in the line for 35 to 40 minutes. I get into the park, and I look up. My favorite ride is besides Pirates of the Caribbean, is the Railroad. Railroad's not open. I'm like, ooh, I can finally see the new Walt Disney animatronic that they put in with Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. So I go over there. That's not running. I go into the theater, I sit down, and I'm like the only guy in the theater for Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. So I'm sitting there watching him give the Gettysburg Address, he doesn't actually. He says the Gettysburg Address, but the animatronic speaks other Lincolnisms. Very poignant, not weirdly, but it was very interesting about how the United States cannot fall. No army can take a drink from the Ohio River by force. For 1,000 years, the fall of this republic would have to come from inside. And I was like, this is interesting, Abe. You really are onto something here. I then go, I have a pretzel. I go eat at the Jolly Holiday Cafe by myself. There's another sad lady who's by herself. I'm like, our tables are next to each other. I'm like, hey, you're a weirdo too. Nice. And then I go back. I look at my watch, and it's 12 o'clock, and I'm like, I have to go to pick up my child from school. So I then book it back to L.A., and the drive back only took 45, which was great. And I picked up Henry. And that was my day. That was my day at Disneyland, where I was forced to go to Disneyland. So,
what? So wait.
Yes.
What was the outcome of all this? You now have a 2026 pass.
I now have
that you had paid for in 2025. Unbeknownst to you.
Yes.
Got it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I was like, this is like house money. I can't lose.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean,
yes, I can.
It's more. It's not quite house money. The word you're looking for is the sunk cost.
Yes.
Fallacy.
Yes. Please explain that, because in my head I was driving there and I was thinking of the sunk cost fallacy. So please explain that to our listeners. I literally had those words in my head.
It's not exactly the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy, really says, oh, we shouldn't do something because of all of these things that we've done previously, when in fact the doing something is the optimal decision, right? You shouldn't
right.
So in some ways, you going to Disney World by yourself on a Tuesday and getting a pretzel was avoiding the sunk cost fallacy, right? If you fell into the sunk cost fallacy trap, you would have said, you know what? The money's gone already. What's the difference?
See. I got it. Okay, good.
You're on mute, Steve.
Oh, Steve, unmute yourself.
It wasn't good anyway. I was trying to mute myself, and I don't know. I said Matt successfully resisted the sunk cost fallacy.
Yes, you did.
I did it. By taking the initiative and driving to Anaheim and calling it was a whole thing. It was a rigmarole.
Yeah, mazel tov.
And not only that, now you guys can go back to Disney World for the next 356 days.
Well, I mean, I can go back. Henry and Dory, it's a whole other story.
They can go back on a tier 0 because
they can go back on a tier 0 day.
Yeah, because you're in for a third of it is paid for.
Yeah, so we're good. As I said to Dory, because we were looking at the passes, and I know you guys both have kids that are around Henry's age / a little bit older. And I don't know that if things are as expensive in Connecticut as they are out in LA, but if you were to take your kids out bowling, for instance, how much would that cost you?
Bowling might be the worst example you could come up with.
Okay,
because the only bowling alleys now in our area are like those fancy ones like Bowlmore or Bolero. Or the chain that just went out of business, Pinstripes.
It's Lucky Strike all around here.
Yeah, so you cannot go to those places as a family of 3 for a casual bowling experience for less than like $150.
Okay, good. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah.
If you're gonna take the girls out to say, if let's see, if you're not gonna go bowling, what if you took the girls to say a trampoline park for the day or something like that? How much would that cost you? He shudders.
$35 a person to get in the door.
Yep.
And that's not including
if you found the
socks.
If you found the socks,
Right.
Because they get you on the $15 socks.
It's 11
we
bought on previous trips to the gym.
That's right. And then do you want to make a scene there when they start asking to then play the arcade games or get a slushie or some...
So we are a no, I think you guys know this about us. We are a no arcade game, but sure slushie. That is our
that's fair.
That's where we draw the line.
Oh, that's interesting. So, like, if they wanted to go to, like, a Dave and Buster's or something, you'd be like, no, we'll go to Slushy Town, USA.
Urban Air is our climbing gym or indoor gym of choice.
Yeah, that's the other problem with bowling alleys now. They've all they're bowling alleys / arcades, but they're not actually arcades. They're just thinly veiled gambling games. Like they're basically all just slot machines.
They're all ticket where games.
You try to
none
win
of them
tickets,
are just games.
but they're not actually like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Street Fighter.
Yes,
they're basically just slot machines where you try to win games, and like you buy your kids a $20 card for arcade games. That's gone in 3 minutes.
Yes, I took Henry to Dave and Buster's. We met one of his friends from his baseball team. I took him to Dave and Buster's, and I think the dad and I spent each about $175 on the Game Pass and the food, and we walked away with like, I don't know how many thousands of fucking tickets that we didn't need for any. He got what did he get? He got like a Pikachu, like a stuffed Pikachu, and a megaphone that says Dave and Buster's on it that broke immediately. So I said, so I was looking at that, and I was like saying to Dory, I was like, every time I take him to one of these places, like a bowling alley or Dave and Buster's or a Chuck E. Cheese or whatever, any of these indoor, let's
amusement
waste the
parks.
Saturdays. Yeah, it costs upwards of whatever. And I was like, if we could get Henry the Southern California resident pass for Disneyland, that literally comes out to $75 a month.
So you go once a month. That's not bad.
Like, exactly. If we just go once a month, it pays for itself. That actually pays for itself in eight visits. It pays for itself in eight visits. Yes. Please come to the timeshare. You're gonna love it, guys. Sound financial investment, this timeshare. Anyway, so that's me justifying getting my child a
This is not
Disneyland
a financial
pass.
advice podcast.
Yeah. We are not financial advisors. This is not financial advice. Please seek a professional.
Please, yes. And give me a job if you need a comedy writer. Let me know. Okay, so how's what's going on with you guys? How's the week been?
Well, let's see. It was my birthday last Thursday. Although we recorded on Friday, so yeah. So had a little party on Saturday, very small party, with some adults only.
Nice.
Yeah. And then we went to friends for the Super Bowl, which we can talk about later. About halfway through the second quarter, Sam says, "Dad, my stomach hurts."
I thought he was going to say, Dad, do the Patriots know how to run offense? But...
They do. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, my son Sam is not interested in sports at all. So we left and came home. Then at about 11 o'clock at night, he comes into my room. He says, "Dad, I made myself throw up." I said, okay. All right. I said, did you hit the toilet? Because that's always my first question. He said he did. I said, all right, why don't you climb into bed with me? About 3 a.m, he woke up, threw up again, took him to the doctor, stomach bug. He stayed home from school on Monday. I don't even know where I went. I left for a few minutes and I came back. He said, "Dad, I threw up again." I said, "Okay, no. Did you hit the toilet?" He said, "Mostly." And I look on the kitchen counter, and there's vomit all over the kitchen counter, which had then seeped into the dishwasher, which I had left open, and I can't remember where I was going, but I was halfway through putting away clean dishes.
Oh no.
So then I had to rerun the dishwasher.
Sure.
But you know, it was not bad. It was a short-term thing. He stayed home from school for half the day on Tuesday, then wanted to go, so I dropped him off, and then about an hour later he called and said pick me up. And there's no school today because it's the day before. It's the day before our week-long vacation. So there's no school today. So, you know,
what a sham.
We made it through. We made it through another week.
Wow.
Another week. Your story about Disney reminded me of something about, you know, not knowing you're paying for something, but actually a way around it. So when your spouse dies, as mine did in June 2025, you cancel their credit card, and you learn about a bunch of stuff that they had since been paying for on their credit card because, like, you go to, I don't know, you get some email that says, hey, we couldn't charge your credit card. And then I say, well, joke's on you. But the last thing that is still something she signed up for is she signed up for once every 3 months, a truck comes to your house and takes your garbage bins and puts them on the back of the truck and has like some high-powered sprayer and it cleans them. And I always felt like this was literally the dumbest thing to spend money on. Literally the dumbest thing. Except it was also one of those things where it was like, if she then had said, okay, will you clean the garbage cans? I would have said, I'm not cleaning the garbage cans.
Right. Yes.
So anyway, make a long story short, these guys showed up like, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. Like they must have, I don't really know why, and clean the garbage cans. But then they've been trying to collect for this last cleaning because Allison had her credit card on file, which has not been able to be used for 8 months now. But I'm not calling them back. I don't want this service.
I saw this on Handyman Hal. Henry watched this YouTube channel called Handyman Hal, and they had this trash bin cleaning truck that rolled through and sprayed hot water into the bin and like and I was just like, what a ridiculous business idea.
So, you know what? Send me to collections. I don't even know the name of this business, but
Dory's email from Disney was like, you will never be able to buy a pass again. We will blacklist you from Disney property if you don't take that stuff. I know.
You would become a treasure. You guys would become treasured guests.
Yes. Oh my God, it was insane. But that's the. Is there anything besides that was like surprising in the sense of like, I don't even know what that is.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, there's just like a whole bunch of stuff that you need to do. You know, the funeral home sends you a checklist. Some of the stuff, since we knew it was coming, we had prepared for. Some of the stuff we had not prepared for. For example, my kids had each had a custodial bank account with Chase that Allison had opened. She had not set up any it's not a beneficiary in this case, but like in case of death, here's who else can use this.
Right.
Guardian.
Yeah. So I've been totally unable to get those accounts.
Jesus.
There's some probate process which apparently could transfer it, but my trust and estates lawyer has kind of guided me to not do probate unless really needed. And it's not like there's a ton of money in there, but it did cost me 3 hours at my local Chase branch to try and get that.
Oh my God.
There was an old 403B that she had that is with Transamerica. And I also spent about 2 hours on the phone with them, sent them a bunch of stuff.
And you weren't already the beneficiary of that?
I was not. So it had been opened even before we met. And I never knew about it. So I was, it just was not like something that we had ever updated. Right. That I still don't have in my name because I followed up once in like October and they were like, we don't know why this isn't happening. And going back to our conversation from last week, each time it's a phone call and I'm just like, I don't want to make this phone call and be told that nothing has happened again. And the money is invested. I guess my only concern is that at some point it goes to like the unclaimed property of New York or Connecticut. I don't even know where it would go. So I do need to solve that.
Is at $50,000. We should be talking about that.
Yes, we should. I'll just call Transamerica and say, "Hey, the Dow is at 50,000. Transfer me this money." That it's interesting. Like that money is also like because it's in a 403B. I wouldn't be able to access it without penalty or tax implications until I'm 59 and a half anyway. So it's kind of like, all right, I don't actually care if this takes like 5 years.
I'll make the phone call then.
I'll make the phone call in, 13 and a half years or whatever.
I've got like a 3-hour drive coming up.
Yeah. Let me just sit on the phone with Transamerica while you pass me around to 9 different departments. So yeah, I mean, pretty much everything else was either stuff that we had prepared for or was like particularly lightweight. I will say American Express was extremely understanding of the situation and made things very easy to cancel her credit card. So kudos to American Express.
Yeah. That's always been Amex's thing, right?
Like, customer service. I just called the line. I said, "Hey, my spouse died. I'm calling on her behalf. I need to cancel her credit card." They said, "We're very sorry for your loss. We have canceled the card." The Social Security office was surprisingly efficient.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, so it turns out for anyone listening, if your spouse dies and they have paid into Social Security and you have kids, that money can go to the kids, which I only learned after the fact. But in order to get that, you do have to go in person to a Social Security office.
Right.
With a whole host of documents. But I will give credit to the Social Security office. They were good. They were very good.
This is not anywhere in the same ballpark, Michael, but when Roxy died, I was one little thing that really impressed me was, we submitted to our insurance the claim for the procedure, right? And for all that stuff. And without me having to do anything else, right? Not only did they fill the claim, but they canceled the account on their own and sent us they're like, "We understand the consequences of the thing you have just asked us to, cover."
Yeah. Especially in a situation like that where like obviously your head is spinning and like you don't know what to do. When stuff just works, you like kudos to them.
Well, and when a company has clearly actually thought carefully through, like, in a way that's not just about their bottom line, but actually is about like protecting their customers.
Yep. So, other than that,
it shouldn't be so rare, but it is.
I know it really is. So yeah, Chase, if you're listening, I want that money. It belongs to my kids.
Steve, what's happening? How's your week going over there? Not a lot happening in DC.
I haven't had nearly the interesting times that either of you have had this week. I've just been working myself to death, but which I guess tracks. Let's see, Karen was away at the beginning of the week, so Michael is now solo parenting full time. It is it is much easier to solo parent part time, but it's still a disruption. I don't know. Watching the world spin, watching the Attorney General lose her mind.
You're a failed lawyer. You're not even a lawyer. That was my favorite zinger. The other one that killed me personally, I'm just gonna, sometimes we head over to this side of things, but she ripped Culver City, California, which I don't know if you guys have been to. I used to work in Culver City at Sony,
Yeah.
and it is like the most pristine. Not like there hasn't been a murder there in like a year and a half. Crime is down again, like another 9%. And like it's Culver Studios, Sony, Apple, Amazon, Warner Brothers Discovery has an office. It's insane.
What do you think she was like? What city do you think she was trying to say in that situation?
I don't even know. I was watching the news and they did like a little very funny man on the street thing in Culver City where they were like, what do you think Attorney General Bondi was talking about? And like this dude with sunglasses is like, I don't know. We got a lot of coffee shops. That was what he said. It's like, we got a lot of coffee shops. It was bananas. That burn book, man. I love it.
We have a double kid sports weekend coming up. So Maddie has an all-day volleyball tournament tomorrow, and then Sydney has a synchronized skating competition in Hershey, Pennsylvania on Sunday. So we're really excited for the long weekend ahead.
Dude, Henry's got birthday parties on Saturday and Sunday. And it's just, and the following weekend he has the same thing, Saturday and Sunday birthday parties. And I'm just like, well, this is like, how do you even, I don't even understand. Why? So what happens with you, Michael, with this? Do you have double birthday weekends anymore or no?
We haven't had one in a while. They're all drop-off birthdays at this point, which is great.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We haven't had, I don't know, maybe my kids just stopped getting invited to birthday parties because we haven't had one recently.
Maybe they just, maybe they sent a signal, and everybody took it. I tried to send that signal.
I mean, we're at the age, like, Olivia's last birthday party that she went to was right before Christmas, and it was like, hey, we're going to take the girl whose birthday it was and like 5 of her friends into the city for the day. So like that was amazing.
Yeah,
do that more often.
That is pretty good.
Anytime it's like, hey, can Sydney come over and we'll watch her all afternoon? I'm like,
right. Yeah. Hell yeah. Like there hasn't been like Olivia's not at the age yet of a sleepover birthday party, but I think those start pretty soon, particularly with girls.
Maddie did that for her birthday.
Yeah. Well, that sucks for you.
Maddie, with that?
That sucks for you, but I'm sure if she were to be invited to one, that would be amazing.
But it was funny because we had like 6 people over and we got like these little tents where they had like a little tent set up in Karen's office.
That's fun.
Yeah, but then at like 10 o'clock, the girls wanted to like keep playing, and Maddie was like, "I want to go to bed." So Maddie actually went up to her room and went to sleep.
That's amazing.
So for the 4th time in her 10 years of life, Maddie was the first person to leave her own birthday party.
All right, 40%. She's departing early, right? I love it.
The hit rate is high.
That's great.
Hall of Fame numbers.
I know it's like a little stale because it happened about almost a week ago, but that Super Bowl was really something.
Yeah, it was. Nice to have gotten there for sure, ahead of schedule.
Did you feel less of a sting?
It's not fun watching your team lose. I mean, if I were to rank Super Bowl losses that I've witnessed,
yes,
2007 was by far the most impactful.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
thank you.
By far the most impactful. 2011 was really annoying because it was the freaking Giants again.
You're welcome again.
Eli Manning. you know, I will say, like, in terms of my life, nothing will compare to what I felt after the 2003 ALCS.
Game 7, yep.
The Aaron Boone home run. Because not only was that just devastating, it also hit me like at a particularly rudderless time in my life. So I remember walking out of the bar that we were at and just thinking, like, I don't actually know what to do with myself now.
Were you in New York at the time, or
I was living in Philadelphia. I did like a brief 10-month stint in Philly, 2003 to 2004. And I really didn't want to be there. And I wasn't like doing anything professionally or like anything that resembled like what I thought I would be doing. And Aaron Boone hit that home run. And I was just like, something has to change.
So bad.
Primarily with the Red Sox, but second order about myself. So all that to say, I felt nowhere near that after Sunday. After Sunday, I was like, oh shit, my kid's sick. And like, I really hope the Patriots make it back because I really I love watching them. And like, it was an awesome season, but we never had a chance in the game. It was clear from the first minute,
and I preferred that.
I did too. I did too.
Like
do you guys remember? I don't remember what number it was. I mean, it was Super Bowl 35. Do you remember the year that the Ravens and the Giants played in the Super Bowl?
Was that like the Ray Lewis era?
Yeah, and like Trent Dilfer was the Ravens quarterback, right? So I went into that game about the way that I felt about the Patriots going into this game, which is that happy to be here. We're going to get absolutely destroyed. Shouldn't even get my hopes up, like blah blah blah, right? And the form held, right? You guys, I don't know if you probably won't remember the details, but like the one moment in which the Giants were in the game was like they finally had like this long touchdown drive, and they cut it to like a 2-score game, and then the Ravens ran the ensuing kickoff back for a touchdown. And I was like, see, we're just whatever. That's how I felt about this game.
I almost honestly preferred the way that the Patriots went out there because the only thing they won was the coin toss. Like after the coin toss, it was downhill, and like just watching the offensive line just crumble repeatedly and the 4 and outs, like I was like, oh okay, I have no expectation for them to put any points up whatsoever. I saw no way around it. That defense was insane,
incredible.
Are you guys watching the Olympics?
No.
Watched. I watched some of the USA men's hockey game, which was yesterday. I watched last night a little bit of the luge relay, which I didn't know existed.
I didn't know that existed. How does that work?
So it was really interesting. So if I understood what was happening correctly, it was some sort of like one guy goes down, and then at the finish line, they actually put like a circular target above the finish line that the person has to slap. And when it slaps, it then opens the gate at the top for the next person to go down.
Oh.
Yeah. I want to say it was like a 3-leg relay, possibly 4. And it was a mix of men, women, and doubles.
Well, that's cool.
Doubles luge.
Yeah. That's interesting. In my mind, when you said that you watched a relay, here's what I thought it would look in my head. I imagined that it was some sort of like track that had like plateau points. That would slow it down, and someone else would grab the luge and go.
No, it's a relay, but not like a track and field relay where you pass the baton.
Right.
And this morning I briefly was watching some skeleton, which just seems like the most absurd thing to get into.
Yeah.
Steve, what have you been watching?
It's hard, right? Because part of it is the way, like, we cut the cord, so all we have is streaming, and so all I have is Peacock.
You're not stealing my YouTube TV anymore?
I mean, we haven't been for this. and so on
But
Peacock,
Peacock's pretty Olympic centric, so this seems like a good way to watch the Olympics.
But it's like, one, I'm never in control of what we're watching, right? The girls are, right? Two, like on Peacock, you get the same freaking commercial. It's the same 2 minute 30-second commercial break. It's the same commercials, right? And then it's like, trying to like. By the time we get home, it's too late to watch anything live, so you can't watch like Gold Medal Zone.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that our window, right, is like 5 to 8 p.m., which is when there's nothing live, and also it's not the primetime cut. And so we're left to try to like reconstruct which events we want to watch, and to actually watch them in any meaningfully compressed amount of time, you have to watch the same commercials about 11 times in a row.
I think that goes back to what we were talking a few episodes ago, also just about the Olympics. Like, this to me is very much like a channel flipping Olympics, where like you're watching TV and like, oh, the Olympics are on, I'll like flip to that. Having to go to Peacock is a destination, and to your point, it's not a particularly good viewing experience, especially if there's no live events on.
There was a commercial that kept playing during Traders, which we're watching on Peacock. And it was for like the soda that's not soda, pop something.
Olipop.
Yes,
Poppy or Olipop.
Well, they're both, right? Aren't they like competitors?
Yeah.
Yes, and it was there were these two girls on it, and I turned to Dory and I'm like, am I supposed to know who those two girls are, or are they just random having fun commercial actors? And she's like, that's Charlie XCX and Rachel Sennett. And I'm like, who? I've never felt more out of touch than I did in that moment. I literally was just, I was like, I've heard the name Charlie XCX, but I've never seen that person, or at least I didn't know I had seen that person. And Rachel Sennett, I've never seen her do anything, but apparently she's on television. So
I was watching like freestyle snowboarding or something, the half pipe snowboard.
With Chloe Kim.
With Chloe Kim, and both my kids, they must have conspired to come into my bed at the same time because they showed up despite it being like 10:45 at night. So we were watching that. And it got to Chloe Kim, and they said she's from California, and that led to both of my kids out of nowhere just espousing their love of California, that it has everything. They were saying it has good weather, it has the beach, it has mountains, it has Los Angeles, it has Disneyland.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
I will say the houses are really nice there. They said there's a lot of celebrities. I mean, they really were like the Chamber of Commerce for California.
I mean, the most impressed I've ever seen Michael is when we were at whatever the fuck restaurant it was, and Jeanette McCurdy said hello to me.
I don't even remember that.
You don't even remember that we were in? Allison was there too. You were like, "Is that Jeanette McCurdy?" And I was like, "Yeah." You have to say hi to me.
To look up Jeanette McCurdy. Maybe that will jog my memory.
That'll probably jog your memory.
Yes. I do remember that. Yeah, iCarly. That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Yes. I do remember that.
But I will say the thing about LA / Southern California in general, what's very cool about it, and we don't take any real advantage of this. Although I will say I golf all year round, which is great. Like I can golf every day of the year. If I wanted to. But like the whole thing of like you can drive up an hour to Big Bear, hour and a half, and you'll be up in the snowy mountains. Then you can go if you want to, if you wanted to, snowboard and then go surf. You drive down, you go to the ocean, and you can surf. Like there's the fact that Southern California offers all of that, it does something to compete with the fact that it's a sprawling nightmare, horrible traffic, overpriced, and just a general place of fakery and nonsense. But like the outdoorsiness of it, you can't beat it. You really can't.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things you can do. Like, there's a little bit of that in Colorado, but you don't have the ocean. You got the Colorado River, but that's not the ocean.
I mean, you guys know this. I lived in San Francisco for a year when I was clerking right after law school. And I remember vividly, there was a weekend day where I started at like 7:30 a.m. at my apartment, which was in the Sunset. So it was not that far from the ocean. And when I left my apartment at like 7:30 in the morning, I don't know, it's like 49 degrees and raining. And I drive across the city and over the Bay Bridge, and I pick up my grandparents, who at the time were living in Lake Merritt, which is just south of downtown Oakland. And when I get to my grandparents, and I had like it was an old Toyota Camry, so it had like the temperature gauge like right next to the clock, right? So I knew exactly, I was confronted with the temperature. So I get to my grandparents, and it's like, 70. And it's a gorgeous day in Oakland. And we keep going out to my aunt and uncle's, and they live in Lafayette on the other side of the Oakland Berkeley Hills. And we got out to my aunt and uncle's, and now it's like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. It's 106. Right? So basically, like in just like a 30-mile trek from my apartment through Oakland, over the hills, and into Lafayette, I experienced a 57-degree temperature change.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's the Bay Area, right? Like that, like where else? Yeah. I mean, maybe Haleakala in Maui, which I think is the shortest distance from the ocean to 10,000 feet anywhere in the world. But other than that, I mean, like, it's wild.
That's like that episode of Entourage where Johnny Drama had to drive to the valley, but it was like 120 degrees in the valley. Except Steve, you were with your grandparents, so not exactly.
I've said to Dory more times than I can count, like I'm never living in the valley, because it is literally on average 15 degrees warmer.
Can I ask
you,
like what
2 miles.
is the valley? My impression of the valley is almost entirely formed by the movie Encino Man.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. So,
but like other than that, or Karate Kid's All Valley Championship, like other than that, I don't know.
The entire valley was getting
anything about the valley.
I believe he was in Northridge, Danielson. So the valley. Here's how I would describe the valley to anybody who does not live in California. Think of suburban sprawl. Think of like pure, utter suburbia. Okay, here's what also you could think of. Think of Route 1 in Saugus. But if that's all that it was, as far as the eye could see. It's like Route 1 in Saugus, as far as the eye can see, and fucking hot.
Mm-hmm.
That is
like,
the valley.
What are some of the, like, my freshman year roommate in college was from Studio City.
Yes.
What are some of the other, like, major, are they cities out there? They're cities? Or they're part of Los Angeles?
They are, some are incorporated, some are their own towns, like Burbank is its own little municipality. Studio City is very close to us. It's like right over the hill. Studio City was, called Studio City because it was right next to Universal and also had CBS Radford lot was there. So, and that area is the most un-valley-like part of the valley.
Okay.
Studio City. That's how I would describe it.
And what is the most valley-like part of the valley?
Jeez. Fucking, Torrance and Encino, honestly. Okay. Like Encino Man, like that's the valley.
The valley.
Encino.
Steve, have you ever been to the valley? You have.
I've been. I mean, like, so when I was the year I was in San Francisco, I was clerking on the Ninth Circuit, and we sat in Pasadena a couple of times.
Not the valley.
I know, but but when we were not sitting and doing court stuff, we would drive around, and there was one day where we went out pretty far east, and I'm pretty sure that would have counted as the valley.
Here's how it goes. This is a great way to describe the valley to everybody. Do you remember the valley is Hill Valley in 1985? Literally. Like that's where they shot Marty's house and everything.
Yeah.
And Pasadena is Hill Valley in 1955. That's where his mom's house was, and George's house was, the nice 2 stories suburban houses. That's Pasadena. A lot of trees, a lot of shade. I mean, the whole thing of like urban, the lack of trees in the valley is like the thing that kills me the most. There is no shade. It is just it's a concrete like hot plate, and that's part of why it gets to be so hot up there. But like Pasadena, I lived in Pasadena for a year when I first came out to LA, just because I looked at a map like a fool and was like, oh, that's only 12 miles from Hollywood. That'll be fine. I'll live in Pasadena. So I did that, and I ended up working in Hollywood. So I was commuting to and from Pasadena. And I will say this about the traffic in Los Angeles. Every year that has passed since 2007, so I've been out here 19 years now, every year that has passed, traffic has gotten 10% worse.
That's just you getting old.
No, and like honestly, just
like
time-wise.
the older you get, the more you say, "Oi, the traffic," like
No. Just time-wise, like getting from the Grove to my old apartment in Pasadena now would take me 45 to an hour, and I could do it in 28 minutes in my youth. So
I have been to,
and that was in a Jeep Wrangler.
This is not the valley. I've been to Westlake Village. That's not considered the valley, right?
Yeah, Westlake's Westlake is the
Westlake's
valley.
The valley. Okay.
Westlake is where the bachelor house is.
Oh. Okay.
So like if this is how I can describe all of Los Angeles to you guys, is like I'll tell you, Father of the Bride, that house, that was in Pasadena.
We
that
just
house
watched
is
that.
beautiful. I would love to live in that house.
That is a
Father of the
lovely
Bride
house.
Oh my God, that's my dream.
And then there's another valley, but it's referred to as, isn't it the San Gabriel Valley?
The San Gabriel Valley. Here's how I would describe the San Gabriel Valley. The San Gabriel Valley is like a stretched out version of Pasadena with a very heavy Chinese population. So like if you want like authentic, very good Chinese food, you go to the San Gabriel Valley. If you want golf courses that are going to be annoyingly busy, you go to the San Gabriel Valley.
Got it.
So that is what I would say. Always worth a trip. I think we took your parents to like a dim sum place there, and
sounds right.
They were very excited about how cheap it was.
That also sounds right. That also sounds
right. Okay, there, Steve. What's happening?
I mean, Roberta's the first person I've met in my life who brings dinner rolls home, right, from restaurants.
And look, any restaurant they go to,
yes,
it is not about the food. It is about the the price to value ratio of the restaurant is how they assess whether or not they like it.
When they come out here and they stay for like 3 or 4 or 5 days, and they will like, I will open the fridge, and there will inevitably be like 2 slices of bread from a restaurant in a bag, and like all the the salad dressings that they just decide that we need to keep for some reason. It's just like, and half bananas everywhere you look.
Yep, bananas.
They never eat the second half. They always cut another banana in half and have that half a banana. Oh, and also, here's the biggest thing that kills me about them. They use every utensil before they decide it's finally time to clean something. Like, they will go through every fork until there are no forks before they go, can I load the dishwasher? And it's like, yeah, you could also clean that by hand and it would take 12 seconds and you'd be done. Anyway, all right. I love them. I love their quirks. I love their frugality. I admire it.
Yep.
I admire how much Avishai works out.
Yeah.
Sure.
7 days a week.
He's probably at the gym right now.
Probably for the second time today.
How old is your dad now?
He's 80.
He's 80, yeah.
We used to call at the Goldbergs writers' room. We would call your dad. We called Avishai Krav because he invented Krav Maga. He was like this mythic Israeli Mossad spy. Mm-hmm. Somehow it swirled into that in the writers' room at the Goldbergs. But yeah, it was a good time.
Yep.
When you were growing up, did you think that your father was a spy at any point?
No. I mean, that bit kind of took over later in life. Look, he was not a fitness freak either until probably the mid 90s.
What do you know what got him into it?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there was a gym in Alston called the Squash Club, which my friend's dad went to. And I remember at some point saying to my dad that this kid's dad went there. And then all of a sudden my dad had a membership at the Squash Club. But it wasn't like he had all of a sudden done that. I think also, if I had to guess, he would never talk about this because he never talks about stuff like this. But, his dad passed away from a heart attack very young, probably in his mid to late 40s. So, it was around that time, too, that I think my dad got into fitness. But other than that, I can't really think of like anything that he would have been like, oh, I need to start going to the gym now.
There was no like he saw like Cliffhanger. And
no,
he's like loved the way Stallone looked without sleeves, and he's like, I gotta go do that.
No. I think the only movies my dad has ever seen are James Bond movies. Or
he was he was so excited. I have my friend Chris Hardwick, who I did Nerdist podcast with for years. He got me as a gift once. He's into movie props and he auctions and stuff like that. He's rich. He married a Hearst. I can't afford these things, but he did. He got me at one point. He got me Sean Connery's shoes from Never Say Never Again. And Sean Connery is I think he's a size 12. They're over there somewhere. I could pull them up. But anyway, when your dad found out, I was like, do you want to wear them around the house? He was like, yeah. He walked around the house for half a day in Sean Connery's shoes. He was thrilled.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
He was thrilled. Yeah. Sean Connery's little Armani.
Walk a mile in Sean Connery's shoes, and you
shoes.
too can have the worst Russian accent in the history of film.
If you guys want to if either of you want to come visit us in California, I can promise you a little shoe time, little Sean Connery shoe time out here. What do you think?
Karen has. I mean, I think I can say this without getting into too much trouble. Karen has. Karen obviously loves you and Dory and Henry. Karen is virulently anti cross country flights at this point in her life.
We've noticed. And by we, I mean my wife has noticed. It's taken great note of this.
I mean it's perhaps like the single. So like moving from Austin to DC has been obviously like amazing for us to like see most of our family a lot more often. But
Sure.
Austin to LA was an easy flight, and DC to LA is not.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Oh, I know. DC to Los Angeles to DC is not particularly easy, but we do it. We do it when we're asked and invited. We're happy to be there.
Hey, I am not getting in the middle of this. I am just reporting.
All I'm saying is we love our family, and we will get on a cross-country flight to see them, okay? I don't know what's going on in Vladiktown.
My parents won't even come to D.C., and they live in New York. Like, I mean...
Well, I mean, that's a trek, If you're not on the Acela, what are you going to do?
Well, or if your worldview is that, upstate starts at 96th Street.
I mean... I don't hate that worldview, in all honesty. I think that, like, if you're in Manhattan, it's right. Like, I don't... I mean, it was like when I would go an Airbnb in Brooklyn, and I'd be like, someone wanted to hang out in Midtown. I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking? I'm not going to Midtown.
Do you know the Saul Steinberg New Yorker cover, A View of the World from Ninth Avenue?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's actually like, it's like the one legitimate piece of art I have in my office, because it's like my parents literally live between 8th and Ninth Avenue, so it's actually like perfectly capturing my parents' worldview and how I grew up.
Did you? Do they still have the same place you grew up in?
No, I mean we grew up. So we lived in two different places in Manhattan. So we lived at 8th and Mercer for a while, and then we lived on 15th between 6th and 7th. But not that far.
I love 15th between 6th and 7th. That is like, I like that. That's a fun spot to be.
I mean,
that's way better than
8th Street. That stretch of 8th Street has like a weirdly high concentration of restaurants.
Now it does.
It does, right?
Now it does.
I'm thinking of that block.
That is relatively new. So the problem is like my parents have been really, really good at moving to places either before or after they were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like we lived in the Village in the 80s. The Village was not cool in the 80s. Like Washington Square Park in the 80s was a drug den. It was amazing in the 60s, and it was wonderful in the late 90s, but we didn't live there during either of those periods. So,
you know what we say about that? Thanks, Mom, Donnie.
Well, I mean, thank Obama.
It's gonna get so good again, guys. I'm telling you. Just wait.
Washington Square Park.
Is
Washington Square Park is now again a drug den.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't mean that in like a it's scary type way, but like it's I'm sure back then it was scary.
No, I mean the thing is like listen, it was the 80s. There was this understanding, like you left the kids alone, right?
Yeah.
Like I went to after school at the Children's Aid Society, which was on Sullivan Street, just south of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would literally just walk home from Sullivan and whatever it was. Like West 3rd, and I'd go across the park, and no one ever bothered me. I mean, it was like, it was seedy, but it wasn't dangerous. If that distinction makes any sense.
Yeah.
My good friend and co-host of my Star Trek podcast, Andy, his parents, they still live in the same place. They're right over by the Best Buy in Washington Square, like that.
The one in Union Square?
Yeah, like the Angels share that whiskey bar.
Yeah. That's on like 12th Street or something.
Yeah,
13th
like
Street.
They're like right over there, and he grew up there, and like he is 50 something years old, so his whole like thing of like growing up in Manhattan in the 70s is horrifying to me. It's like, what a place, like all those like the graffitied subways with like. Mm-hmm. Just like it's like a fucking it's like the Warriors.
Yep.
Yep. Come on.
Well, that's like Ford to City, Drop Dead. That was right then.
Okay, final thoughts here. I was told I fed the transcripts of this podcast. I fed the previous transcripts into AI, into ChatGPT, and I said to it, take a look at this. What do you think? And it said, it's a great show. It's a good conversation. You just need to work on the landing. So, it's like, hey, why don't you have like a final thought kind of a thing? And I was like, you know what? I don't hate that. I don't hate the idea of like what the final thought is. So I think here's our final thought. I think we should talk about like what is our thing? What are you looking forward to most next week? And I know, Steve, it's not going to a synchronized figure skating competition. What is the thing you're most personally looking forward to next week?
It's school vacation week. I'm taking the kids skiing for 2 nights up
Nice.
to Stratton, Vermont.
Ooh.
If you think single parenting is hard, try it while skiing.
On skis? Yeah,
try it on
thank
skis.
That sounds. Honestly, I'm excited about next week's podcast. Then to hear about this, Steve, what about you? What are you looking forward to next week?
So Tuesday night, I'm doing one of the things I'm doing something that I've always wanted to do. So the Shakespeare Theater Company in Washington D.C. Has this annual like moot court where they take like some fact pattern from Shakespeare and they turn it into a legal dispute. And they have like real judges come and they have real lawyers argue before real judges. And I'm one of the real lawyers this year. So I'm arguing on behalf of Amelia in a dispute derived from Othello before 5 very, very real federal judges Tuesday night at the Shakespeare Theater Company in Washington, D.C.
That's very cool.
I'm a little terrified because like the real goal of this enterprise is not to be right, it's to be funny.
I see.
And I'm a little, especially with all of the encouragement I get from the 3 women in my life, I'm a little worried about that part of it.
I don't know if you know this, but I know an out-of-work comedy writer. I'm in the Writers Guild. I spent years writing for late night television. I spent years writing for network sitcoms. I've seen the what is it
Lawrence Fishburne, Kenneth Branagh?
Yes, there it is. Yes. Look, I'm just saying I could do a punch up pass real quick. Just send me your argument and I'll punch it up real quick and send it back to you. I'll put all my stuff in red so you can delete it immediately if you need to. I am most looking forward to Henry is off of school on Tuesday this week in addition to Monday. Yes, we'll be in D.C. We love cross-country flights, and we're going to go see Uncle Steve. No, we are going to go. He has the choice, and he has not made up his mind yet. He told me this yesterday. He has the choice of going. I take him to Disneyland, as we discussed now that I have this pass, or I take him golfing in the rain.
Wow.
So he's like, I haven't decided yet if I want to golf or if I want to go to Disneyland. So stay tuned for that. And I'm most looking forward to either one of those options. I think I would honestly prefer... The last time we golfed in the rain, there were no carts. It wasn't even cart path only. It was no carts. So I had to carry my bag and his because he refused to fucking put his bag on his back. So I'm like running around like I'm fucking Bagger Vance. I'm like, here's your sandwich, mister. So that's for next week. So yeah, guys, email the show, unclesinlawpod@gmail.com. Look for us wherever podcasts are downloaded. We'll be up there on all those servers probably within the next week or so. Our YouTube channel's here. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. I've learned from watching YouTube over the years, you're supposed to say those things. So good talking to you guys.
Maybe this time Michael will stay on after we stop recording.
Nope.
It's not going to happen. I'm going to hit the stop and I've never seen...
You realize that the reason for that is because your files might not upload.
Well, you don't jettison yourself. You don't jettison yourself until 100% upload. Right now it's at 89%. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Email the show. Thanks for listening, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.